Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. Here where I am in Vancouver, those peoples are the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But I know where many of you are, you're on the land of other nations. Always, but especially during this difficult time, let us remember our connection to our sisters and brothers in these nations and pray for the day in which we might be with them in right relationship. Welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own homes. Please bring who you are in with you. But what you are asked to remember is that everyone around you has brought who they are in with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. Let us sing.
I think we needed more coffee too.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, broken your worships of lovers of leaving, ours is your cares and ours is theirs. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, broken your worshiper, lovers of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. So I have a few announcements. The first one is that our Women Mystics Across the Ages series just started this last week, and it was amazing. Our first session was on Sri Mala, the Indian Buddhist queen, who understood the Buddha's teaching so well that he actually started using what she was saying to teach his disciples, which I thought was pretty amazing. You can watch the recording from that on our YouTube channel. And then our next session will be this coming Wednesday, September 22nd, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be studying Hypatia, the Alexandrian Greek philosopher, scientist, and martyr. So if you're interested, let me know. We'd love to have you with us. It should be really fun and very, very interesting. Next Saturday, September 25th, our friends from the Latter-day Saints community, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, have been organizing for months now to do a province-wide food drive for Thanksgiving. So they're finally collecting the food on Saturday to distribute it to food banks throughout the province. So if you're interested, please get in touch with me, or I can put the link in the chat for where they are collecting everything. So it'll be this coming Saturday, all day at various locations across the province. Let's see, next Sunday, September 26th, Rabbi Laura Duhan Kaplan, who blessedly is with us today, is going to be holding her book release party. So she just came out with a new book called Mouth of the Donkey, Reimagining Biblical Animals. So that's coming out, and she is going to have a Sukkot party / book release next Sunday afternoon. And then if you want to buy her book, I will put the link in the chat. I always try to buy stuff from Massey Books, which is a local Indigenous bookseller, and they are selling her book. But you could also contact her. I'm sure she has several copies. And then finally, the following day, on Monday, September 27th, the South Surrey Baha'i community is going to host a gathering and sharing circle in support of the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. So this gathering is going to be a few days before that. It'll be from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. that Monday. And let me know if you'd like the Zoom link. I'd be happy to send it to you. So that'll be an important conversation. So that's what I have here. Does anyone else have any other events or anything they'd like to call attention to right now? Yes, Stephen?
Just quickly, next Saturday, as if your Saturday wouldn't already be overwhelmed, the sister congregation Living Interfaith in Linwood will be having its belated Yom Kippur service looking at atonement. And I'll be giving the sermon, and if you're curious as to how much of Rabbi Laura's sermon I will filch and whether I'll give her credit for any of it, then by all means tune in at 10:30 next week for the Zoom service at Living Interfaith. But we'll be looking at atonement and quoting the world-renowned philosopher Elton John. Sorry seems to be the hardest word. So,
not if you're Canadian.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephen.
May I add an announcement?
Yes, absolutely.
Thursday is National Truth and Reconciliation Day in Canada. And on Wednesday evening, my colleague Ray Aldred, who's the Director of Indigenous Studies at Vancouver School of Theology, Ray will be giving a talk on coming into right relationship in Canada. And it will be hosted online by Ambrose Seminary. So Kathy, I could send you the link, but I don't have it at my fingertips. But it's Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. online through Ambrose Seminary. And if you go there, you pre-register and they send you the info.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And that's going to be Wednesday, September 29th, the night before, right? Okay, perfect. Yes, if you want to send it to me or put it in the chat, either way is great. So thank you.
I just
good.
put it in.
Shadia's- You're way ahead of us. Bless you. Perfect. Okay, friends, let's come into silence for a moment. Once more, Atonement Day has come. All pretense gone, naked heart revealed to the hiding self. We stand on holy ground between the day that was and the one that must be. We tremble. At what did we aim? How did we stumble? What did we take? What did we give? To what were we blind? Last year's confession came easily to the lips. Will this year's come from deeper than the skin? Say then, why are our paths strewn with promises like fallen leaves? Say then, what shall our lust be for wisdom? Say now, love and truth shall meet, justice and peace shall embrace. From Chaim Stern. O source of peace, lead us to peace, a peace profound and true. Lead us to a healing, to mastery of all that drives us to war within ourselves and with others. May our deeds inscribe us in the book of life and blessing, righteousness and peace. O source of peace, bless us with peace. And now let us do our passing of the peace. Please unmute yourselves and say something like peace be with you as well. Salam alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Peace, everyone.
Peace to you all.
Shalom.
Peace to all.
Assalamu alaikum.
To all.
Peace be with you.
Peace, everyone.
Peace be with you.
shalom and peace and love.
Peace, my friends.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you.
Oh, oh, wonderful, wonderful faces, wonderful people. Peace, peace.
Rebecca, I would like to just use what you have said. Peace to all, and just as you've said, wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you. And now let us sing.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, if you'll join me in our joint affirmation, we come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many. Our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek. And let it begin here. Thank you. So I'm so happy that we have not only Rabbi Dr. Laura Duhan Kaplan with us today, but we also have Shadia Qubti with us. So Shadia is at VST now. She's originally from Nazareth. She's a Palestinian Christian at VST who's just become the, VST, the Vancouver School of Theology. She's just become the president of the Student Council. And Shadia has a poem for us, I believe. So we'd love to hear from you, Shadia. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you this morning. I'm going to read a poem by Elizabeth Topper entitled "The Heart of the Sukkah." Maybe I can't share my screen, but I can send you the link if you want to follow through. Here we are. Let the walls of my heart be easily moved as the walls of the sukkah that sway in the wind. Let the roof of my heart be porous to tears as the roof of the sukkah that lets in the rain. Let the space in my heart be open to guests, as to ushpizim who pass through each night. Let the beat of my heart be a vital reminder that life here is transient, a temporary dwelling. Let the walls left unsealed and the roof with its lattice frame the cracks that will let in the light.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now is when we usually pray in our own homes and in our own ways. So based off that beautiful poem, let us pray for that kind of openness. to one another, how we can stand firm but still be open, receptive to others, and practice true spiritual hospitality. So let's pray for a few moments now, friends. Thank you. And when you're ready, let us sing. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. I never heard that before. Thank you. Yes, now is when I usually say that I will pass around a basket if we were in person, but lacking that, I can share our donation page in the chat. And many of you already donate towards us and have been for quite a while, for which we are most grateful. So we really appreciate it, keeping us going. So thank you so much for all that you do to keep this going. And then Doctors Without Borders also needs support, especially with the pandemic and with everything happening right now. So any support, if you have some extra money to donate towards them, that would be wonderful. And always, but especially this year, and unfortunately probably next year, the Residential School Survivor Society also will need some support. Any donations you can give towards them would be very needed. Are there any other causes at this time that we should call attention to? Please feel free to say them now or share them in the chat. Okay, thank you. Then when you're ready, let us sing.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Wonderful, thank you. And now it's my joy to turn it over to Rabbi Laura to share with us from the High Holy Days.
Thanks so much, Kathy, for bringing everyone together today. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And especially thank you to Bruce and Cheryl for the perfectly chosen music. And thanks to Shadia for the perfectly chosen poem. I really appreciate this space. Kathy particularly asked me to share a version of a talk that she saw me give via video elsewhere. And it's about the question, how can we use the resources of the Jewish High Holy Days to help us show up in difficult times, and in particular, these times? So I will share these words with you today. The question, how do we show up in these times, is not a theoretical question. It's certainly not a theoretical question for me, because in just the last 16 months, maybe just the last year, I've lost friends and colleagues to COVID. I lost a young family friend to overdose. I lost both my cats to a feline coronavirus. I grieved with Indigenous students and colleagues over lost children. A friend lost their home to fire. A relative rode out a flood. I survived a heat wave that killed 800 people in our province. One friend was attacked by a grizzly bear. In the news, I've read about 45 coyote attacks in Vancouver, and soon 35 coyotes will be dead. My daughter's partner is out of work due to COVID layoffs. Our family is split over vaccinations. I'm trying to help a friend with refugee status emigrate to Canada, but the system is overloaded and her prospects are grim. And these are just some of the ways that these times are impacting my life. These are just some of the ones that are not too personal to share. And really, I am safer than most. I have health insurance. My employer pledged not to lay anyone off due to the pandemic. I am settled and safe and a citizen where I live. But still, even so, in these times, I feel as though I am just putting one foot in front of the other. And I don't have a lot of time yet to spare for feeling deeply about what's going on. I'm just moving forward. But I do have spiritual resources that give me comfort and also guidance. And I would like to share some of them with you today. I'd like to share one of them with you today, actually. And it's an old poetic Hebrew prayer called Unetaneh Tokef. It's about how to show up in challenging times. First, Unetaneh Tokef talks about the inner disarray that we might feel. And then it names what is happening in the world. And finally, it lists 3 tools for coping. Unetaneh Tokef was written more than 1,000 years ago by an author whose name we no longer know. But Unetaneh Tokef has definitely entered the public domain. Mozart used part of it in his great Requiem Mass. Leonard Cohen used part of it in his song, Who by Fire. So you probably know part of it, even though you may not know the source. Unetaneh Tokef is part of the liturgy for Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, that we celebrated 2 weeks ago. And it's part of the liturgy for Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, that we celebrated just a few days ago. Literally, Rosh Hashanah means beginning of the year, but the holiday also has other nicknames. We call it Yom HaZikaron, the day for remembering who we are. We call it Yom Tru'ah, the sound of the shofar call, the sound of the ram's horn. Some say the sound of the shofar is a wake-up call. And it helps us remember that life is precious and life is precarious. And I will blow it for you with the warning that Zoom does not like the shofar, so I don't know how it will deliver the sound to you. We also call the new year Yom Hadin, the Day of Judgment. It's a day, traditionally it's the first of 10 days. It's a day for asking deep existential questions. Questions that tear through the fabric of everyday life. Questions like, have I developed inner resources? Can I rely on strong interpersonal relationships? Do I live in a good community? Unetaneh Tokef is a prayer for the Day of Judgment. And its name, Unetaneh Tokef, means let's recognize the power of this day. First, let's notice how we feel. Then let's take stock of what is. And then let's decide how to move forward. The first part of Unetaneh Tokef describes a scene that takes place in heaven. And sometimes, often in Jewish writing, heaven is a metaphor for our inner life. It makes sense. Heaven is a spiritual place. The human psyche is a spiritual place. Heaven exists in higher dimensions. So do our profound thoughts and feelings. And thus, Unetaneh Tokef says, when times are hard, a shofar sounds inside of us. A wake-up call sounds inside of us. And then images from the past year dance before us. It's as if a book of our life falls open, and we realize we are the author of our book. So we ask ourselves, how did we rise to the challenges of last year? Here are some of the words of the first part of Unetaneh Tokef. Let's recognize the holiness of this awesome and terrifying day. Today, you open the book of memories, written by each human being in their own handwriting. A great shofar sounds, and a still small voice is heard. This is the day of judgment. This is the day of judgment. Even the angels tremble in fear. In Hebrew, Ov shofar gadol yitaka v'kol dmamadaka yishama. And then Unetaneh Tokef says, God plans the year. And because times are precarious, so much can happen. Over the year, we will find out, in the words of Unetaneh Tokef, how many will pass away, how many will be born, who will live, and who will die, who will live a long life, and who a short one, who by fire, who by flood, who by violence, who by beast, who by hunger, who by plague, who will grow poor, who will grow rich, who will be humbled, who will be raised up. Berosh Hashanah yikatevon Ov Yom Kippur yechatemon Kama yavrun v'chama yibarehun mi yichyeu mi yamut mi v'kitzo u'mi lo v'kitzo. And then, just as Unetaneh Tokef has opened your inner well of uncertainty and despair, it tells you what you can do. You can go back to the big existential questions. Have I developed inner resources? Can I rely on strong interpersonal relationships? Do I live in a good community? And you can point yourself toward answering yes to all of them. Or, as Unetaneh Tokef says, Teshuvah, Tefillah, and Tzedakah soften the harsh decree. Uteshuvah, Utefillah, Utzedakah, Mavirin et roach zeira. The questions. Have you developed strong inner resources? You can always strengthen them with tefillah. It means prayer, but originally it meant spiritual self-examination. Asking ourselves objectively what is going on in our thoughts and feelings. For example, are we angry at greedy politicians, but taking it out on our own family? Do we resent the needs of others because we feel guilty that we haven't helped them enough? Tefillah helps us untangle our inner knots so that we can think and plan more clearly. Can you rely on strong interpersonal relationships? You can strengthen them through teshuvah. Literally, teshuvah means return to relationship. When you do teshuvah, you recognize that you did harm, that you want to fix it. Then you apologize, you offer reparation, and then you do not repeat the harm. Teshuvah helps repair rifts caused by conflicts, both small and large. Teshuvah helps us restore the circles of support that we need. Do you live in a good community? You can strengthen it through tzedakah. Literally, tzedakah means justice. And in hard times, it means giving help to those who face the most harm. You can take small personal actions. You can donate funds to agencies. You can work in coalitions to change laws and institutions. Tzedakah helps keep people alive, and it helps rebalance a community. That's the Unetaneh Tokef roadmap. Recognize our feelings and our questions. Not a simple step. Take stock of what is at stake. Also not a simple step. And then do what you can to help yourself, your relationships, and your community. A series of steps that we hope will take us through the year. May you all be inscribed in the book of health, the book of happiness, the book of success, the book of peace, the book of justice, the book of life. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Rabbi Laura. That really speaks into where we are right now in so many ways. I love that roadmap. I know I could certainly use a roadmap right now. So thank you very much for sharing that. I think Bruce and Cheryl have one more song, if it's okay, if we will complete the service. And then if you have a few moments afterwards, if folks have any questions. Otherwise, I know you're very busy, so feel free. I know you might need to go. So when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl, let us sing. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. Friends, let us go now to return to one another. Let us go recognizing that the wisdom has been given to us many, many times for thousands of years now, if we can follow it, to remember that we need the community, we need each other, we need to go into ourselves and recognize some of our shortcomings and be willing to atone for them, to then come back and be with one another in love and in equanimity. So thank you so much today, friends. May you be inscribed in the book of life.